already know that he has speed, he's got power. I know he's moving up in weight class, can he carry it? But those intangibles, I believe that he has them.
And then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, and he can look bigger in. Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin. He fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference.
Too fast and too smart for Canelo. Even Canelo is a good boxer. I'm not saying like nothing from not taking nothing from Canelo.
Canelo versus Crawford is being hailed as the biggest fight of the year, and boxing analyst Teddy Atlas has offered his straightforward breakdown. According to Atlas, Terence Crawford possesses the tools to win, no matter the weight class, thanks to his skill, discipline, and remarkable adaptability. He contends that Canelo Álvarez is no longer the fighter he once was, arguing that the Mexican superstar has lost the hunger and fire that originally made him great. In Atlas's view, Canelo's recent performances suggest decline. He even goes as far as to call him overrated when compared with Crawford. For Atlas, it is Crawford's sharpness, focus, and relentless drive that make him the clear favorite to emerge victorious.
That the urgency's not there, the fire's not there. At least it wasn't there a week ago. At least I say that. It wasn't there a week ago. Maybe it'll be there now. Maybe he's the kind of guy that, and I get it, that at this point in their career, it has to be a big fight to get up. That Canelo can't get up for these fights. He couldn't get up for that fight. All right. If you want to go down that road, go ahead. But my road is still possible. That he got old, that it just doesn't have that fire no more. Oh, my God, I'm going to say this one. That maybe he's a little overrated. I listen, I know he's tremendous. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? If you look at some of his biggest fights, the fights where you had to be great to win, that you fought great fighters or near great fighters, you can make the argument that he lost the first Triple G. He didn't embarrass himself, but he got a draw. Second one, you can make the argument he lost that. I know it was a different kind of fight, and he got better. But you can make that. You can make the argument he lost to Lara. He did lose to Mayweather. You can make the argument it was too young in his career. Maybe. Although it wasn't that young. He turned pro when he was 15 or 16.
Mean Machine, a fighter who has already shared the ring with Terence Crawford, firmly believes that size will not dictate the outcome of Crawford's showdown with Canelo Álvarez. He argues that Crawford's skill set is far superior, and that his intelligence inside the ring makes him simply too smart for Canelo. In his view, the difference in weight and natural size cannot overcome the gap in ring IQ, adaptability, and timing that Crawford consistently brings to every fight. Mean insists that Crawford is among the most calculated fighters of his generation, capable of adjusting mid-fight and dismantling opponents regardless of their physical advantages. He describes Crawford as a master of pace, distance, and rhythm, elements that, in many cases, matter far more than sheer size. To him, this matchup favors the man with sharper tools, and that, without question, is Terence Crawford.
No, it's not good for Crawford. Canelo's too big. Right now, my position changed. I think Crawford is too fast and too smart for Canelo. Even Canelo is a good boxer. I'm not saying like nothing from not taking nothing from Canelo, but the way when you see oh, he's too big, when you see Usyk fights and what Usyk did to the big guys like Joshua and Fury, so the size doesn't matter. I think the skill level matters. And Crawford, he gained weight, but I think he's gonna be even faster, and his head was good in the ring. He's boxing IQ is just on top. So I would say 50-50, but right now I'm kind of leaning more to Crawford.
And that's just because of what you saw Usyk do?
It's not I'm just giving an example, size doesn't matter in the boxing. When they say Canelo is big and he's fighting 175, 168, and Crawford just moving from 147, 154. So I'm just putting an example that size doesn't matter, and that the fighter makes the fight. I think it's just like that. I see that Crawford's training and that he's big too right now. So he gained weight, but not like, and lots of people gain weight like that sloppy weight, like I would say like fat, but he gained, like, he looked like strong, massively strong. So I think it's gonna be a good one.
How did Terence feel physically when you faced him? Like, how is his strength? Because yeah, a lot of people do make the point that Canelo's just maybe too big, too powerful for Crawford.
Um, Crawford, I wouldn't say like his punches was like super strong, but his timing and accuracy is the what makes difference.
Mean Machine draws a striking comparison between the upcoming Terence Crawford-Canelo Álvarez clash and Canelo's 2013 bout against Floyd Mayweather. At that time, Canelo was younger, less polished, and ultimately outclassed. Mayweather schooled him with superior speed, airtight defense, and masterful ring generalship. Mean Machine believes Crawford has the tools to replicate a similar blueprint, using movement, precision, and calculated counterpunching to frustrate Canelo and neutralize his most dangerous weapons. Yet, he acknowledges a key difference: today's Canelo is far more experienced. Over the years, the Mexican star has battled and beaten elite opposition, sharpened his adaptability, and developed the patience that was missing during the Mayweather encounter.
Throw hard, but they just throw. And he throws like his calculation for the punches and like timing and aiming to the right spots is just like on another level.
Do you think that's going to be the thing that complicates the fight the most for Canelo?
I think so, yeah. And like, yeah, like we can go back a little bit to Mayweather Canelo, and Canelo, yeah, Canelo was young and like Mayweather smart, but it can be like familiar fight like that. Even Canelo right now have more experience, and Crawford is still on his prime. So yeah, we will see.
Mm. From just your experience, you knowing boxing, like how do you think the fight will play out? Do you think it'll be a slow fight? Do you think it'll be tactical? Like, do you think Crawford?
I think it's gonna start a little bit slowly.
Mm.
They're gonna be careful with each other just to kind of like measure each other and see where they at. And like they're like that's why like they're like champs and they're like great ones. They just don't go like crazy like from the first round.
Regis Prograis offers a contrasting perspective. The former world champion dismisses the idea that Crawford's punches will trouble a granite-chinned, naturally bigger fighter like Canelo Álvarez. In Prograis' view, Canelo has withstood the power of some of boxing's heaviest hitters, men naturally larger than Crawford, and has proven nearly unshakable. Still, Prograis does not entirely count Crawford out. While he questions the impact of Crawford's power, he acknowledges that the Nebraska star has the tools to win through skill, strategy, and sheer determination. In his assessment, Crawford's technique is world-class, and his ability to switch stances seamlessly while executing flawless game plans makes him a dangerous opponent, even for someone as formidable as Canelo.
I think that Crawford has the ability to outbox Canelo. You gotta look at, and then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, and he can look bigger in. Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin. He fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference, Jamel looked like the bigger man. His head, his neck, everything looked bigger. But when they got in the fight, you could tell. You could see who really was the bigger man. And I think that's the same thing. Crawford is putting on weight, but it's not weight like Canelo had the weight already. He doesn't have to put on muscle. He doesn't have to do that. He's already big like that. But I think that Crawford does have the style. He does have the style to beat him. If you look at the people that beat him or gave him troubles, Irislan, Lara, Austin Trout, Floyd, and Bivol, they gave him trouble and stuff like that. And Skull moved around a little bit too. So I think that Crawford has that. But I don't know how Crawford is gonna respond when he gets hit. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel was undisputed at 154, and Canelo hit him and shit. Jamel was like, hell no. Jamel took a knee. So it's a big difference. And Crawford had that one fight at 154, and he didn't. Madrimov would touch him up a little bit. And this is nowhere close to Madrimov. You talk about Canelo. Now, if it was just another bigger guy, I would go with Crawford. But you talk about great. This might be. I mean, people might kill me for it, but well, not really. But this might be the best Mexican fighter ever. One of them, at least, right?
Jose Vargas Jr., who has spent time sparring with Terence Crawford, echoes Regis Progrea's skepticism. Vargas openly states that, based on personal experience, he does not believe Crawford can hurt Canelo. While he acknowledges Crawford's sharpness and precision, he argues that the punches lack the kind of heavy-handed force needed to seriously trouble someone with Canelo's size and durability. Vargas points out that Álvarez has already absorbed the power of much larger fighters, which raises doubts about whether Crawford can truly pose the same level of danger. That said, Vargas does not dismiss Crawford entirely. He recognizes that power is not everything, timing, accuracy, and consistency can break down even the toughest opponents. Still, in his view, Crawford's shots may not carry enough weight to stop Canelo from pressing forward with relentless pressure. That's it for today's video. Stay tuned. Until next.